time, I sail across the sea, learning about history and geography, from ancient empires to modern day towns, exploring the world up and down.
Hello everybody, and welcome back to Monsters Eating Chocolate podcast. In this episode, we will introduce some interesting artifacts found in the museums of Rome, especially in the famous Capitoline Museums. The Capitoline Museums, founded in 1471, are the oldest public museums in the world and are located on a beautiful hill in the center of Rome. This museum was actually set up about 600 years ago by the people who wanted to show how the Romans lived thousands of years before that. And it's like people from the past were showing off an even older past before the past, if you can get what I'm saying. And now, when you visit, it's like you're time traveling, seeing ancient history from the viewpoint of somebody who lived 600 years ago. So how cool is that? It's like a double layer of time travel, looking at a really old world through the eyes of a really old world. Now, inside, you'll find ancient statues, colorful paintings, and even objects that tell stories from thousands of years ago. One of the coolest things you can see is a huge bronze statue of a wolf, known as the she-wolf, which tells the legendary story of how Rome was founded. There's so much to explore, and each artifact has its own exciting story waiting to be discovered. Why is Rome called the Eternal City? That's the first question we're going to be answering today. Well, because as you walk through its streets and see its sights, you're walking about the same paths and witnessing the same views from people thousands of years ago, all with their own stories to tell. It feels like if Caesar himself walked from here to here to give a speech, and Emperor Constantine strolled across the bridge from one side to the other, everything seems frozen in time. And you walk on the same bridge that Caesar and Constantine walked on, like nothing has ever changed. So history feels incredibly close here. The same sense appears in the painting of the 15th century, a statue from the 16th century, and a book from the 17th century. Oh, Rome, it's our beloved city.
Hi, my name is Emma Jo. I am 8 years old. Today, I'm going to try to answer some questions about Rome. First question. Guess why there's a hole on the top of the Pantheon in Rome? What do you think it does? I think the hole is for giving light to brighten up the room from the sun. Also, my other guess is when it rains, it will clean up the floor. And I suppose there are drains or something to wash away the water.
Hi, my name is Hubert. So why is there a hole on top of Pantheon? I think it is to first make the people easier to breathe. Second, to make some light inside Pantheon. Third, the hole looks like an eye of a god, so it makes it easy to connect with the sky god.
The second question is, why do you think they put their hand into the mouth of that statue in the movie Roman Holiday? Maybe there are fortune tellers in the mouth, and when you put your hand in and pick a note, then read it, that will tell you what will happen to you in the future.
That's interesting. I guess because they are playing a game, and if someone loses, the statue's mouth will bite.
The 10th question is, this object in the bottom right corner of the picture was found in the ancient Roman Colosseum. What do you think it is? The ancient Roman Colosseum was for watching gladiators fight. The slaves or prisoners fight against big animals. I think the bones on the picture were from one of the dead creatures killed from the fights.
I think it is a pot. It has a handle like all pots do, and I think it could handle some food and it could hold some water.
Good job everyone on your responses. So first off, I would like to comment on Hubert's response. Hubert, you mentioned that the hole is the connection to God in Roman culture, and that is correct. That is the definitive correct answer. In Emma's response, you did really well on your outside of the box thinking. Your answer isn't necessarily correct. It's not to wash away the floor or whatever. It's a connection to God and also acts like a light source. To wash away the floor, there's another pipe system that the Romans built. The skeleton is a skeleton of a rat, and it is not a skeleton of whatever, a tiger or something that fights the soldiers or gladiators. It's just a normal house rat. It shows that people lived in the Colosseum and permanently resided in the Colosseum over 2,000 years ago.
Hello, my name is Preston, and today I will share some questions about Pompeii with my mom.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, so let's take a look at the first picture here. Do you see 3 rocks in the middle of the street?
Yes.
What are they for? Guess.
Well, I think those 3 rocks are for like those carriages that like move people around, just like cars in like the right now time. But like the rocks are like blocking the road. Carriages like can't go through the rocks. So I think those 3 rocks are for like stopping the carriages and telling them to turn around. Or they can be like for walking, like for people walking on the stones when it like floods.
So when it floods, the people can walk on it. Easier to go across the street. Sounds good to me. So the second picture here, do you see there are 3 holes on the edge of the street? So what are they for?
Well, I think those 3 holes are for like so like you can like tie your dog like on like those 2 holes or 3 holes, so like your dogs won't like run away while you're gone.
Oh, any other purpose?
Well, I think those 3 holes are for like those rainwater too. For example, like if the rains like too hard, like the water will go through the holes and then it'll go onto the floor.
Okay, so it's gonna drain down
Yes.
there. Okay, so if it's for the rain, why are they not on the ground then?
Well, first of all, if they're on the ground, when people have like high heels, they're gonna trip because of those like holes. So like those high heels can go into there.
Yes.
And second of all, like the rainwater, if it still rains but only a little bit of water comes in, the water will just like stay there for a long time.
Cute. So the third picture, do you see 2 strips in the middle of the road as well?
Yes.
So what are those 2 strips for?
Well, I think those 2 strips are for like those carriage I mentioned earlier. So like those carriage, like the carriage have wheels. The wheels can go into like those strips. So like the carriage won't have to be like onto the road, which is really rough, and like the stones sometimes are uneven. So it won't like be really rough for the people who are on the carriage.
Sounds interesting. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Overall, I would like to say that you've done a good job on your response, but there are a few things that I would like to add. First of all, the road has a built-in braking system. Second of all, the stones above the road are actually a crosswalk that let you step above the road. And finally, the objects on the side of the road are actually horse leashes.
Hi, I'm Emma. Hey, Jonathan, can you think of any idioms about Rome?
Let me think. I know one. All roads lead to Rome. It means that there are many different methods or ways to achieve a particular goal or arrive at the same result.
Great job. Can you think of another one?
Yes, how about this one? Rome wasn't built in a day. This idiom means that great things take time to accomplish and significant achievements cannot be rushed.
Exactly. Those are both really famous idioms about Rome. Now, Jonathan, do you know why the city of Pompeii disappeared? And do you think a disaster like that could happen again?
Yes, the city of Pompeii was destroyed by a massive volcano eruption. Lava covered the whole city. And I think a disaster could happen like this again, because the volcano is still active and there's a high chance it could erupt.
That's a good point. Now, why do you think there are so many fountains in ancient Rome?
I think that there are so many fountains in ancient Rome because a bunch of them had sculptures, mosaics, and other artworks that celebrated Roman gods and mythology. And I think they represented important things that the Romans celebrated. I think the fountains in ancient Rome also mean wealth and power. Oh, and did you know that many people throw coins into the wells to make wishes? That'd be cool if the wishes came true.
So yeah, I think the response was a little overthinking about the water fountain, but overall still good. The water fountain was used for worship, but only in the later Middle Ages and such. It was not used for worship in ancient Rome, and in ancient Rome it was just used for drinking water. Wow, what a surprise. It's just very fancy. They like to decorate things fancy, and that's why people like to think it's a place of worship. So you're not in the wrong here.
Hi, Emma. I've got a few questions for you. First, can you give me a name to the set of pictures that you like? Why did you choose that name?
Hey, Victoria. I think I'd call it the Queen's Sisters because the person in the middle is wearing a crown. So I think she's a queen, and all the people around her will be referred as sisters because that's how they refer to others in Christianity. What about you, Victoria? What name would you give to these paintings?
I like that. Maybe I call it Generations because it looks like generations of a family from a long, long time ago. Now, why do you think the lady's face on the left and the man's face on the right are different colors in these paintings?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, first of all, we need to know what this painting is. It's a painting of the Duke and Duchess of Urbino. The person on the right is the Duke and the person on the left is the Duchess, his wife. Why are their skin colors different? Well, it could be some simple reason, like maybe the wife was in the house more and did more housework, and the Duke was outside more doing more physical work. Another reason might also be that the wife's skin is so pale because maybe it was like a beauty standard back then. For example, back then, having a big forehead meant that you were rich and beautiful. So maybe it was the same thing for women except for with pale skin. What do you think, Victoria?
I was thinking maybe it's because it's the Queen of England going somewhere to meet the Prime Minister of India. Last question. Why do you think gold and blue are used a lot in Christian artworks?
I think this is because these colors have a special meaning in Christianity. For example, gold might mean wealth, saying that if you become a Christian, you might be able to live a more wealthy life. And blue might symbolize loyalty, since I'm sure that loyalty is a big aspect in Christianity. That's why I think there is so much gold or blue in Christian paintings.
I think it's because God, gold, they both start with the letter G. And I think blue because sky is like heaven, and that's where God lives.
Wow, Victoria, that's such an interesting guess.
Blue and gold were the main colors that symbolified the rich and significant in paintings. Why was it? Well, first off, gold is gold, and that signifies rich in many cultures, including Chinese culture. And, well, blue is a little more complicated. As you can see, first off, it symbolizes Virgin Mary, which we already mentioned. But second of all, it also is because blue dye is significantly rarer in medieval Europe, such as and Renaissance periods, which comes from lapis lazuli, a precious gem. So why blue is also a color of the rich. The 7 paintings, well, yes, what we mentioned in the podcast tends to be true, but there's also a very funny meaning, and it's a recent trend called OOTD, outfit of the day, that many people participate in on TikTok and whatever. Well, OOTD is essentially what the paintings are representing. They're changing outfits every day. Why is the girl in the painting white? Well, simple answer, she's dead, and dead people tend to lack color. And as you can see in the background of the painting, all the flowers and bushes are dead. This is in great contrast to the right side of the painting where the man looks sort of ugly, but he's actually having a great time because all the flowers and bushes are alive. So that's the contrast in the painting, and that simplifies a lot of things. Overall, the intent of this painting was because he loves his wife as everybody should, and he wants to give a sort of letter to his passed away wife to symbolize that he still loves her. So the paintings that we're talking about right now are from Florence, which is the center of the Renaissance. So that's why these paintings are very important to the history of the world. And they all come from the Uffizi Museum in Florence. So feel free to check it out if you ever visit it.
Hi, Sophia.
Hi, Mom.
Can you tell me what is this in this photo?
The image shows the tip of the Colosseum of Constantine, which is a gigantic statue. Specifically, the bronze orb and the spire would have been held in the hand of the colossal statue.
Do you know where it is from?
The statue's remains are now preserved in the Capitoline Museum in Rome.
Any fun story?
It was a gigantic, colossal statue of the Emperor Constantine the Great. The statue was about 40 feet tall.
Whoa. Can you recognize this building?
The Colosseum.
Colosseum. Where is it from?
It's from Rome.
Where is Rome?
In Italy. It's the capital city of Italy.
Look at this ancient relic. Do you think it's practically new or old?
I think it's old because it's 2,000 years.
Oh, it's already 2,000 years old? But compared to the other ancient relic, do you think it's old?
Oh, it's new. Like most other ones, like the pyramids are like 5,000 years old.
Yeah, I agree. Do you know that the Colosseum was always called as this name, or it has other names?
It had other names, like the Flavian Amphitheater.
Oh. Why is it called that name?
Because it was an amphitheater.
What is it for?
It was for entertainment, and when people and animals ended up fighting to death for the entertainment of the audience.
Who enjoyed that?
Crazy people.
How many games for this?
There's 80.
Is it free to watch the game, or we have to pay?
It was free.
But do you want to go?
No.
Why?
Because it's evil.
Can you tell me what is this object?
It is a picture of the Bigo, which is a type of ancient Roman two-wheel chariot.
Oh, why it is called this name? I never heard about this before.
It comes from a Latin word bi, which means two, and eugum, which means yoke. A Bigo was typically drawn by two horses and was used for various purposes, including racing.
Oh, any other use?
Yeah, like they also use Bigos for transportation and religious processions.
So where can we see this kind of chariot?
In ancient Rome, Bigos were commonly and mostly used in chariot races at the Circus Maximus, one of the largest sporting venues in the ancient world.
So it's like an entertainment.
Yeah, but it's a lot better than the fighting and killing people in the Colosseum.
It's not that crazy. And can you see this kind of symbol in any other place?
Yeah, like Romans used it a lot. Like they made a lot of sculptures of the Bigo and coins.
Ooh. It symbolizes of what?
It symbolizes speed, agility, and control. In some depictions, gods and goddesses, such as Victoria, aka the goddess of victory, are shown riding the Bigo in some statues.
That's interesting. Any other use?
Yeah, like in addition to racing, Bigos had a ceremonial role, often used in funeral processions for wealthy or notable individuals.
Hi, I'm Elijah.
And I'm Elisa.
I have a few questions for you. Elisa,
I love questions.
first, let me introduce the rules.
Rules, I love them.
There are 4 pictures from the ancient Romans. You have to guess them.
But I don't know, they really are.
Keyword, guess. You don't have to guess them correctly, but use your imagination. First one.
It has something like a brush and there is a book-like thingy. It might be a drawing book.
That's really good guess. How about the second one?
These blocks have some little circles on it. Is it a mahjong?
I thought of that too. Great. Third one.
This looks like something I use every day. Oh, it's a fan.
It's a good guess, isn't it? Last one.
It's a doll.
That's a weird doll. You had down all the questions. You pass and you get an ice cream.
Yay.
Searching ancient Rome, we discovered that the children and the people used a lot of instruments and toys. So first off, the third image, which is mistaken for a fan, is actually an instrument for playing music. And finally, the last figure of a person is actually a toy that people play with. Yes, that's the toys of ancient Rome.
Hello, my name is Katie, and I'm 6 years old. In ancient Rome, people played 3 big stones on the road. Can you guess what they were for? I guess village people used
the stones to cross the street because they don't have the white lines. Why were the stones raised? I guess when the road gets flooded by rain, then people have to walk on the stepping stones.
Thank you everybody for listening today, and I hope you had a great time listening. I know I did have a great time creating this. Haha. Okay, now, when it comes to Rome, I think it's one of the most important civilizations in the world, and certainly the most wonderful classical civilization to exist. One of the most important and life-defining empires that we ever had in our history. If I had the chance to go to Rome again, I know I would, because I threw the thing in a fountain, and yeah, I will. Goodbye, and I'll see you next episode